Hello everyone and welcome to the new session of the lecture series, and today in this lecture we'll be solving the NCERT based multiple choice questions from the chapter photosynthesis in higher plants. We have already discussed some of the multiple choice questions in the previous lecture, and today we'll be solving the rest of the questions. So let's start with the first question, which is, which of the following pair is mismatched? Alright, so they have given you these pairs and you have to select a pair which is mismatched. So first option is photosystem 1 uses the P700 molecule in its photocenter. Okay, so this is correct because in photosystem 1 we know that reaction center, RC, you can say the reaction center is a single chlorophyll A molecule that, is activated, you can say, or that have maximum absorption at around 700 nanometer. That's why we write it as P700. So this is correct. Now next is antenna complex contains 100 of pigment molecules. This is also correct. Now, third is PGA, phosphoglyceric acid. What is PGA? PGA is phosphoglycerate, you can say, or you can say phosphoglyceric acid. It is the first stable compound. Alright. First stable compound that is produced where? Compound produced during the C3 cycle. Alright. That's why C3 cycle is also known as C3 cycle, because PGA is a 3-carbon compound. So this is also correct. Now fourth option is dark reaction takes place in the grana of the chloroplast. So this is not correct because dark reaction, also known as the biosynthetic phase. Alright, this takes place where? This takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast and not grana. Alright, stroma of the chloroplast. Alright, and in grana, what takes place? In grana, light reaction takes place. You can say thylakoids, which are stacked over each other to form the granum or grana. Here light reaction takes place. So this option, or option D is mismatched, and this should be the answer of this question. Now let's move on to the next question, which is breakdown of water. Means they are talking about the photolysis of water. Photolysis of water, H2O. Photo means light, lysis means breakdown. Breakdown in the presence of light. So breakdown of water during the photosynthesis, leads to the release of what? First option is electron and proton. Second option is electron and oxygen. Third option is proton and oxygen. And fourth option is electron, proton and oxygen. So let's first talk about the photolysis of water. So what happens? Photolysis of water takes place, or what is the site? It is PS2, photosystem 2. So PS2 contains what? It contains the water harvesting complex. Alright. And here photolysis of water takes place. So what happens? So this is the equation for the photolysis of water. Okay. Manganese ion is required for photolysis of water. Okay. Chloride ion is also required. And what happens? Protons are released. Along with protons, electrons are released, and there is oxygen evolution also. Alright. So option D is electrons, protons, and oxygen. So what should be the correct answer here? Option D is the correct answer. Now moving to the next question, which is photophosphorylation. Okay, photo means light again. Okay, phosphorylation. Okay, addition of phosphate you can say, or formation of ATP. Okay, so now let's talk about the photophosphorylation. So what is photophosphorylation, or how you can define it? Simply you can say that the generation or the formation of ATP from ADP, alright, using the energy stored in the sunlight. Stored in sunlight, or you can also say by using the energy of the photons. Okay, this is known as photophosphorylation. Okay, now they're saying that photophosphorylation in chloroplast is most similar to mitochondrial substrate level phosphorylation. Okay, second option is mitochondrial oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, third option is all of the above, and fourth is mitochondrial hydrolysis of water. Okay, so this is option D is not correct. Okay, it is absolutely not correct. There is no hydrolysis of water there. Okay, instead oxygen accepts the electron and water is formed in the end. Okay, and protons also accepts. Okay, now first option was mitochondrial substrate level phosphorylation. Again, this option is not correct. Okay, so during phosphorylation, what happens? ATP synthesized. Here also ATP synthesis takes place. Okay, but how? By the transfer of the phosphate group from high energy substrate to ADP. Okay, during substrate level phosphorylation, what happens? A phosphate. Okay, phosphate group is transferred to ADP. Okay, which leads to the formation of ATP. Okay, phosphate group is transferred to ADP from high energy substrate molecule. Alright, which leads to the formation of ATP. Okay, now let's talk about the mitochondrial oxidative phosphorylation. So what happens here? Again, ATP synthesis takes place. And how ATP synthesis takes place? By using the energy of the oxidation reduction reaction. Alright, so what should be the answer here? Photophosphorylation, okay, is similar to the mitochondrial oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, in both of these, photophosphorylation, oxidative phosphorylation, what happens? Again here, electron flow is there. Okay, there is an electron transport, electron flow, And this leads to the generation of what? A proton gradient. Alright. And the breakdown of this proton gradient leads to the formation of ATP. Alright. So what should be the answer here? Option B is the correct answer. Now next question is, at which wavelength cyclic phosphorylation occurs? Okay. So now let's talk about cyclic phosphorylation. What happens during cyclic phosphorylation? First of all, it involves what? Photosystem 1 only. Okay. Which has P700 as the reaction center. Okay. Then what happens? The electrons, okay, they come back to the photosystem 1, or they return back to the photosystem 1. Electrons, okay, which are liberated from the photosystem 1, from the chlorophyll of the photosystem 1. Okay, they return back to photosystem 1. Okay, then what happens? It is activated by light of wavelength, you can say around 700 nanometer, or you can also say beyond 680 nanometer. Alright. And what happens? Only ATP synthesis takes place. Okay. Only ATP is synthesized. No NADPH is synthesized. So this cyclic phosphorylation, photophosphorylation, is activated by the light of wavelength. Okay. Or you can say light of higher wavelength. Okay. Beyond 680 nanometer. So options are wavelength beyond 800, not true. Okay. Wavelength beyond 680, this is correct. Wavelength below 680, no. Okay, below 680, photosystem 2 will be activated. Okay, or you can say around 680 or below 680. Fourth option is wavelength below 500 nanometers. This is also not true. So what should be the correct answer? Option B is the correct answer. Alright. Now, next question is, in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, there is photolysis of 12 water molecules. They are saying how many protons are formed. Okay. So they are saying 12 water molecules. Okay. Photolysis of 12 water molecules are happening, is occurring. So this will result to the formation of 12 into 2 is 24. 24 protons. Okay. And then we have 24 electrons, and oxygen will be generated. Okay. Here you can write 6. 6 to the 12. Oxygens are 12. 12 oxygen are present here. So 6 molecule of oxygen will be liberated. So answer should be 24 protons. In the options we have this 24 protons. Others are not correct. Okay. So what is the answer? 24 protons. Now next question is, all of the following statements are incorrect. Okay. So they have given incorrect statements regarding the non-cyclic electron transport system, except, but we have to select a correct statement here. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about non-cyclic phosphorylation. Or you can say non-cyclic electron transport chain they are saying here. So what happens? It involves both photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Alright. So what happens? Non-cyclic phosphorylation is also known as the Z scheme. Or, okay, because it happens in a zigzag manner. Okay, photosystem 2 is involved. Photosystem 1 is also involved. This is activated by the light of wavelength around 680 or below that. Okay, reaction center is P680. Here reaction center is P700. This is activated. Okay, it gets excited. Suppose P680. This asterisk represents the excited form. Then what happens? The electrons are accepted by the primary receptor, which is pheophytin here. Okay. Then we have plastoquinone. Then what we have? Cytochrome B6F. Alright. Which transfers electron to plastocyanin and finally to photosystem 1. Now photosystem 1 gets activated or excited by the light of wavelength more than 700 nanometer. Here we have this excited form. Okay, here primary receptor is a iron sulfur protein. Okay, known as FRS, pyridoxine reducing substance. Then this transfers electron to ferridoxine. Okay, and later what happens? Electrons are finally delivered to NADP plus, which leads to the formation of what? NADPH. Here NADPH is produced, and at this step ATP is produced from ADP. Okay, so this was about the non-cyclic electron transfer change or non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Alright, here at PS2 what happens? This is a site for the generation of oxygen, or you can say photolysis of water. Okay, here hydrogen protons will be released, electrons as well as oxygen is released here. Okay, now you can write 2 here, 4, 4. Okay, so and now here what is happening? You can see photosystem 1 NADPH formation, photosystem 2 oxygen evolution and photolysis of water. Okay, and ATP and NADPH are synthesized. Now let's look at the option. First option is electron transport between photosystem 2 and 1 produce ATP by substrate level phosphorylation. This is the first option. Second option is in photosystem 2, the oxidation of 2 water molecules produce 4 electrons, 4 protons and a single oxygen. So this is correct. Now third option is water is oxidized and electrons are released by photosystem 1. Okay, so this is not correct. Water is oxidized and electrons are released at photosystem 2. Okay, now fourth option is photosystem 2 reduces NADP to NADPH. This is not correct. Alright. So what we have to select? We have to select the, okay, all the statements were incorrect, but we have to select the correct statement here. So what is the correct statement? Option B. In photosystem 2, oxidation of 2 water molecules produces 4 electrons, 4 protons and single oxygen. All the other are not true. This is also not substrate level phosphorylation. It is known as photophosphorylation and not substrate level phosphorylation. Alright, now coming to the next question, which is during photosynthesis, electrons are continuously lost from the reaction center of photosystem 2, by which process these electrons are replaced. Okay, first option is sunlight, second is photolysis of water, third is release of oxygen, and fourth is redox reaction. Okay, now let's read the question again. During photosynthesis, electrons are lost from the reaction center photosystem 2, Which process replaces? Okay, so we know that at photosystem 2 what happens? Photolysis of water takes place. Okay, and this results to the formation of protons, electrons, and there is the release of oxygen, and these electrons fill up the empty space in the photosystem 2. Okay, photosystem 2 is P680. This is P680 in excited form. Okay, so electrons are transferred to photosystem 2. The electron released from the photolysis of water. Alright, so what should be the answer? Photolysis of water. The next question is, by which of the following complex proton is pumped to reach ATP synthase to participate in the ATP synthesis? Options are cytochrome B6F, cytochrome C oxidase, cytochrome AA3 and cytochrome BC. Okay, so cytochrome A, this is present in the mitochondrial membrane. Alright, cytochrome C oxidase also, it is present in the mitochondrial membrane. Alright, again BC also present where? In the mitochondrial membrane. Okay, inner membrane. Whereas cytochrome B6, where it is present? It is present in the thylakoid membrane. Alright, now let's look at this diagram here. Suppose this is the thylakoid membrane. Okay, this is the thylakoid membrane, and within this membrane what is present? Photosystem 2. Then we have photosystem 1 here. Here we have the cytochrome B6F. Okay, now what happens? Protons move through this. Okay, protons, as the electrons are transferred from one carrier to another, protons are also moved from the stromas. So this is stroma. So there is a transfer or transport of protons from the stroma into the lumen of the thylakoid. Alright, here protons get accumulated here. Alright, now if we complete this diagram, here this is the, here ATP synthase is present here. Okay, ATP synthase is present here. This is the F0 part. This is the F1 part, which is involved in the synthesis of ATP. Okay, from what? From ADP. Here protons pass through this. As the protons pass through this ATP synthase, ATP is generated from ADP. Alright, so this is clear. So which complex is involved? Cytochrome B6F is involved. So now coming to the next question, which is cooperation of two photosystems of the chloroplast is required for. So what we've already, so they are talking about photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Means they are talking about the non-cyclic phosphorylation. Okay, non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, so the cooperation between two, okay, is required for first ATP synthesis is the option, reduction of NADP plus, enhancement of dark reaction, not true, and generation of proton motive force. Okay, so what should be the answer? Reduction of NADP plus. Why? Because again, let's see the diagram. Here we have photosystem 1. Photosystem 2 gets excited, transfers electrons to photosystem 1. Alright, now this also get excited, photosystem 1. And finally electrons are transported okay, or accepted by what? NADP plus, which is converted into NADPH. Okay, so cooperation between the two helps in the reduction of NADP to what? NADPH. So this is the correct answer here. The next question is, in a crop field, a weedicide. Okay, weedicide is what? Which kills weeds. Alright, is used to remove weeds in order to increase the yield. But the effect of this weedicide is that it blocks the electron transport from photosystem 2 to photosystem 1. Okay, so now they are asking, this will result in option A, enhancement of the dark reaction. Not true. Failure of ATP synthesis. Then next option is lack of reduction of NADPH, or both B and C. Okay, in the previous question we have seen that, okay, we have seen that ATP and NADPH both are synthesized during the non-cyclic phosphorylation. Okay, during the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, okay, we have already seen in the previous questions, I've drawn the diagram, that both ATP and NADPH are synthesized. Okay, but if we block the electron transport, what will happen? There will be no synthesis of ATP and no synthesis of NADPH. So what should be the correct answer? Both B and C. There will be failure of ATP synthesis and there will be no reduction of NADP plus. Okay. Now coming to the next question, which is, which one of the following event occurs both during cyclic and non-cyclic mode of photophosphorylation? Okay. Option 1 is involvement of both photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Second is formation of ATP. Third is release of oxygen. This is not true because it takes place at photosystem 2. Formation of NADPH, again this takes place at photosystem 1. Okay, so what is common to both non-cyclic and cyclic phosphorylation? It is formation of ATP. Okay, ATP is produced both in non-cyclic photophosphorylation and cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, and they are asking about the event. Okay, so these are not event. Photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 are not events. Event is only formation of ATP. The next question is, cyclic and non-cyclic flow of electron is used in plants to first meet the ATP demands of the Kelvin cycle. Okay, so this is true. Okay, second is avoid producing excess NADPH plus. So this is also true. Okay, this is correct. Third option is all of the above, and fourth option is balance ATP and NADPH ratio in the chloroplast. Okay, so a balance is required of ATP and NADPH, because what happens? This ATP and NADPH, which are produced during the light reaction, are used in the biosynthetic phase or the dark phase for the production of what? For the production of carbohydrates. So a balance should be maintained. Okay, so what should be the answer? All of the above is the correct answer here. The next question is, which of the following is not concerned with cyclic photophosphorylation? Alright, so they're talking about the cyclic, means they're talking about only photosystem 1. Okay, so first option is liberation of oxygen. This requires photosystem 2. Okay, means it requires the activation of non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, second option is synthesis of ATP. Synthesis of ATP takes place during the cyclic phosphorylation, yes. And then third option is occurs in certain photosynthetic bacteria. And fourth option is electron expelled from P700 return to it after passing through different electron acceptors. Okay, so this is also correct. So what should be the answer? Liberation of oxygen is not concerned with the cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, the rest are concerned with cyclic photophosphorylation. The next question is, in non-cyclic reactions of photosynthesis, electrons from chlorophyll molecules in photosystem 1 are used in the formation of NADPH. Okay, so this is true. Now what they are asking, they are saying that what is the source of such electrons? Okay, is it light? Is it NADPH? Is it photosystem 1 or photosystem 2 which splits the water molecules? Okay, so now let's talk about the significance of photolysis of water. Now you already know that photosystem 2, what happens? Photolysis of water takes place. Okay, which result in the formation of protons, electrons, as well as oxygen is released. Now, as the photosystem 2 gets excited, okay, P680 in excited form, okay, it loses an electron, and the empty space here is filled by the electrons from the photolysis of water. Alright, now these electrons can travel downhill and finally accepted by photosystem 1. Okay, photosystem also 1 gets excited. Alright, and there is an empty space and empty gap here for the electrons, and photosystem 1 accepts electron from the photosystem 2. Okay, and photosystem 2 accepts electron from the electrons available from the photolysis of water. So what should be the correct answer here? Option D. Photosystem 2, which splits water molecule, provide oxygen, okay, provide electrons to photosystem 1, okay, that are used in the formation of NADPH. Alright, the next question is, the electrons that are released by the photolysis of water during non-cyclic photophosphorylation ultimately end up to, again this is a very straightforward answer question, glucose, ATP, H2O and NADPH. Okay, we know that again let's draw this. Okay, this is non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Electrons travel from here, then to photosystem 1, then electrons are accepted by the prime receptor here, and finally it is accepted by the NADP plus, which leads to the formation of NADPH. Alright, so what should be the correct answer here? Option D is the correct answer. The electrons end up ultimately in NADPH. So this was the end of the lecture. Thank you very much for listening.